So here we are. I cleaned this guy out pretty darn good. I sold a lot of plants this year. Sold about almost $1,500 worth to a local nursery and a few private individuals that just wanted to buy them for their own houses. So far this is all I've planted up. It's still early in the spring and I've been working on these Japanese maples. I don't know if you watched the last video, you'll see that I had these seedlings in a little tote and they had sprouted, and anyway I pulled them all out and potted them up in these big pots. I'll probably let them grow on for about 2 years and then I'll sell them. Some of them I'll plant out on my landscape here. So this is what I've been up to with rhododendrons here. This is how I kind of do my rhododendrons. Last year I potted them up in 1-gallon pots, and that's what I've done so far every year. But as you can see, these guys just grow like crazy when you take care of them and treat them right. And more every year I'm doing a better job at that as I get better at this and learn what to do and what not to do. And each year they grow better right out of the chute. So I'm kind of making a decision here to get away from 1-gallon pots, because they really need bigger pots when you take good care of them to get growing better, and they need more room. And so anyway, these are two-gallon pots. I'm thinking about eventually just starting them in 3-gallon pots, but this will give them plenty of space for now. And what I do, I actually prune them right away. As soon as I pull them out of the propagation bed. What are we at right now? Just the end of March. Today's March 30th. And so things are just starting to warm up. Buds are just starting to swell, and it's the perfect time. I pot them up in these pots, and then you can see right here, I actually snapped the top right off of that. That was a full whirl of leaves all the way up to here, a whole new shoot, and I just snapped it right off the top, and you can see all those little buds way down in there. They're all going to sprout. Instead of having one little shoot, you'll have 3, 4, 5 shoots coming out and have a nice, full, beautiful plant. And you really want to do it that way in the beginning when they're young, so that you get some multiple stems coming off of them. You'll have a much fuller plant with much better blooms. And also, by taking that cutting right off the top and snipping it down right off the bat, you're actually giving the root ball that it's formed so far kind of a rest, and allowing those roots to feed a smaller plant, which it just provides for a healthier, stronger plant in the long run. It's one of the hardest things for people to do when they've just got this brand new propagated rhododendron, is to snip the top right off of them, but they turn into much nicer plants in the long run. I'll give you an example here. So let me see if I can find something. Like this guy is kind of an example here. If you look down in here, last year, let me see here. Last year I snipped off, or maybe it was actually 2 years ago when it was still a cutting. I snipped off this little, let me see, right in here. I snipped that little top off. It was one shoot. And now it's grown into 2, and then it's just spread out from there. And I'll actually come back this year and I'll snip these 2 top branches off right here, because I want it to bush out and get nicer and fuller while it's young. You don't want to wait too long. If you wait too long, you'll get this long, scraggly plant that only has a couple shoots, and it doesn't look very nice. And sometimes that happens to me. When you've got so many rhododendrons, sometimes they can get away from you a little bit. Anyway, I'm trying to look for an example, but I've done a pretty good job so far. Here's an example. I'll probably come back. This is Apricot Fantasy, and that's a beautiful yellow flower, and it's kind of a double flower. They call it hose in hose, and it's kind of a double flower anyway. It's a yellow with a hint of orange in it. But I'll come along and I'll just probably snip that right off, and then 2 or 3 branches will come out of that one. I'll cut the bud right off of the top of that one, and then several branches will come from there. So you really want to start your pruning on these guys really early on, so that they turn into nice, beautiful plants. There's that Ingrid Melquist I was showing you out in the propagation bed, the one that my wife loves so much. That was a cutting. Anyway, they grow pretty quick and pretty nice, and that's all budded up. It's going to swell up and start opening pretty soon here. Like I said in one of my prior videos, that's a $30 plant all day long, and all it did was sit for the last couple of years. It's just amazing what you can do with these guys. The Elizabeth rhododendrons are just about to start opening up. You can see a little bit of red on the top of this one right here. And then the PJMs, they're fully open. That's one of the first plants in the spring to open up. And they're actually starting to put on new growth, and there's some 1 gallon PJMs right there. Anyway, let's go take a look at the landscape beds here for a minute and show you what's going on with the beds I take cuttings out of.